Just when you thought it couldn't get better, we got a threesome going on today with Alan in the middle. That's where he prefers to be. So we got Matt Stevens, Alan Roberts. What's up, y'all?
I'm the cream-filled center.
So actually, since I can't tan anymore, I'm the whitest guy here. And I wanted to say this is a very special day, one that all three of us have been celebrating, that a federal judge overturned the airline mask mandate. Yeah, that means Alan can fly. And he could come, we could do events all across the country. Alan's like, dude, I don't feel like driving to fucking Arizona.
Hell no.
I was not doing it. And I mean, the biggest thing about it is it's not even that I was like digging my heels in about the thing. Like, well, you both have met me. Like, my ADHD is a real thing.
No.
I have fucking panic attacks from that, from trying to wear one too. Like, I mean, it's like fucking, I feel like I can't breathe in those motherfuckers. So
it's horrible, dude.
I feel degraded. Like when I
that it is. I mean, and there is the fact that it is just completely degrading and like nonsense.
Ball gag, you know. You're like,
complete nonsense.
I'm like, dude, nah. But you know, it took Florida. Florida's taking to Tennessee. We need to do more shit in Tennessee. Like, nobody does that. We just kind of sit back and shoot things. Like, we don't. We like. See, here's the difference in Tennessee stays like freedom for Tennessee, but we don't give a fuck about anybody else. See, Texas and Florida, they're trying to help the nation. Tennessee, we're just sitting back watching everybody else implode.
Dude, I'm especially surprised at how many, like, how big the liberal crowd is in Alabama. I mean, of course, it's like a conservative state, but you'd be surprised like how many liberals we have here.
Well, I mean, you should just go out there and offend every single one of them.
Yes, should be,
and you do that by being muscular and masculine. That fucking pisses them off.
Trigger a lot of people.
You trigger me. I'm triggered right now. I mean, Jesus. I mean, it is triggering for these people to see muscular men. Like, you know, Kurt Hulkzilla, dude's like 6'1", 872 pounds of pure muscle. Dude, I remember the first time I met him in person. We met each other at a trade show, but I don't remember it. And this dude, so it wasn't, so Starbucks put it on, right? It was a free, it wasn't a Trump rally, but you know, we usually get freedom people. There's going to be Trump flags and stuff, right? It's just kind of went hand in hand with the last 4 years. And so I see this, and like it's a very diverse crowd, like very diverse. Franklin's a very diverse area, and the conservatives here are very diverse. But you just see this really large 300-pound black guy. I'm like, holy shit. So he triggers everybody. Because he will say exactly what he wants to say. Because what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, who's going to say anything to him?
It's pretty much at the end of the topic. You know what I mean? Like, it really is.
So you know how there's like the top of the food chain, like the shark, you know, and he's like the great white. Like there might be some killer, a dolphin who could fucking hit him in his gill or whatever the fuck sharks have once or twice. But like at the end of the day, like there's one dolphin. Every other fish in that sea is going to get eaten. Yeah. He's just that big. Speaking of being big, a lot of fat people out there.
Yeah,
that was my segue. That was my segue for the topic.
Segue into fatness.
So I'm really fascinated because we touched on this, Matt, in our last conversation, and our conversation was about essentially, you know, which is worse, being muscular or fat. If you, let's say you take 300-pound people, like which is worse, if you're muscular or fat? And I mean, you could probably guess the conclusion we came to if you didn't watch it, but we went into kind of fasting, and it kind of, because we have ADHD, so it went there. And, you know, the thing about fasting I always enjoyed beyond any, and we get into your thoughts on the autophagy and the fat loss benefits and all that. One thing that I want to fast for in the future that I always loved fasting for is it gave me this mental clarity that I have never experienced in my life, where even if I'm hungry, I kind of, once I get past that hunger, like let's say if I'm fasting since 8 p.m. the night before, around like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., I reach this level of mental acuity, not physical performance. I probably couldn't, I tried boxing during it, and it wasn't very good. I was pretty bad as is, but fasting made it worse. But I reached this level of mental acuity where it's almost like you're working at 3 times the pace. I don't know if you guys have experienced that.
No, I definitely have. I never really fasted for like the fat loss benefits. I mostly did it just for like the mental fortitude of it, because you got to think. I mean, if you're going to fast for, I mean, the longest I ever went fasting, I think, was 48 hours. I did a full 2 days of it just to see if I could do it. And of course, I worked my way up to that point, but I did it for like I said, to build the mental fortitude. Because I think that's one thing that people don't talk enough about is fasting just to see if you can do it and push yourself outside your comfort zone.
Would you kind of liken that to a cold water immersion? Because I've been trying to do that every day, once a day, and it sucks every time, but you're going through something uncomfortable, which not only elicits a dopamine reaction, which is what you get from masturbating, or, why did I choose masturbating first, or playing video games, texting on your phone?
Because there's a lot of porn addicts out there.
Yeah, I've seen your post on porn addicts, and I think that's whole nother video. But so, would you liken fasting to the mental benefits of as far as to anything uncomfortable? Do you find it uncomfortable? Some people find it more comfortable. Do you adapt to it? Like, what's your experience with fasting personally?
No, absolutely. I mean, like, if you're going from eating every day, like multiple meals per day, you can't just jump into fasting for 48 hours. That's something I think that you have to, I mean, you can, but it's gonna suck. So I slowly built my way up to the 48 hours. And I would say yes, because you are stepping outside of your comfort zone. And so it's definitely not something that's easy to do. It's difficult. And so I would say so. I don't know if the whole, dopamine reset or whatever, I don't know if I really noticed that much about when I did that, but I could see how that would be the case.
Yeah, I would wonder if there's any. I would wonder if there's anything. If there's any correlation between being actually in ketosis, like glyconeogenesis, for mental acuity. Like, I wonder if insulin has something to do with the foggy. And that's just something that I literally just thought of while you were talking about it. But I've noticed, like, I get mentally foggy when I eat carbs, like especially a lot of carbs.
Well, I mean, when you're fasting, your body goes to ketones for energy.
Right, and I'm thinking that might be. I think that might have something to do with it. Like, I don't eat breakfast barely at all. Like, I normally go anywhere from 16 to 20 hours a day fasting. I just consider it how I eat. Other people are like, oh my God, you're going to lose all your gains. Like, that's kind of fucking half the reason I want to lose some of my fucking fatness. But two, I don't like necessarily look towards it that way. I have a hard time believing that people can. Well, we actually have a comment: fasting equals muscle loss.
Yeah, that's why I put it up there. I have a few comments to choose from, but I think that's a great segue, because today is Segway Day. I think that's a great segue for the first topic in fasting is, do you feel that fasting induces muscle loss above, let's say, a standard diet? And there's some data I have off the top of my head. I'm not going to fucking quote things on a discussion, right? That's kind of weird. But there is some data, conclusion that I came from off the top of my head. But, you guys can kind of elaborate on that a little bit.
Well,
do you think that fasting increases muscle loss?
I not necessarily. I think it depends on if you're training. So, like, anytime I fasted, I didn't train. It was on my recovery days. And so I would say that as long as you aren't, training real heavily with a ton of volume and, breaking down a bunch of muscle tissue, then I think you're going to be fine. It's just like taking a break from the gym. But also, I think that if you're doing, like, let's say you're doing the 16-8 ratio for fasting, as long as you are lifting weights, you're going to be eating within that 8-hour window anyway. And the whole anabolic window thing doesn't necessarily play out. So the muscle building benefits of eating are still in lifting are still going to benefit you in that 8-hour feeding window. But I think it has more so to do with lifting than it does your diet. And like I mentioned before, though, if you're not giving your body any resources to rebuild after you are breaking down your muscle tissue while you're working out, then that can possibly be an issue.
So
I would agree.
Yeah. There are studies conflicting, right? Like, there's conflicting studies. We know that there is benefits to hard training athletes having nutrients around training. And people joke about the 24-hour anabolic window, but I actually think for hard training athletes, it's even more acute. But you're looking at the difference of 1% or 0.5%, which in the average training population is just absolutely absurd to even look at, because the average person in the population is a fat tub of lard. So if you're looking, so it's different when you extrapolate data for, let's say, Matt and myself, or even Alan, who's athletic, who does athletic things, versus somebody who has trouble mustering up the willpower to walk 5 days a week. So, for athletes, I do believe that fasting can serve a benefit. 1, mentally, 2, is kind of a reset. 3, being digestive rest. Let's say someone develops irritable bowel syndrome over the years. I feel that for me, it cured my irritable bowel syndrome. I haven't had a flare up from irritable bowel syndrome in over a year and a half, when I fasted for about 4 to 6 months. And for me, it was very healing. I also feel that there are studies. The Minnesota study was actually, it wasn't a fasting study, but it was a very, very low caloric diet but here's the thing. A lot of bodybuilding coaches or fitness experts, like those idiots on YouTube and on Twitter, like me, except with bad information, they'll cite the Minnesota study. It was done on fat chicks. Like, I'm not talking fat chicks. I'm talking my 600-pound life fat chicks. So they didn't lose muscle, but they lost fat. So everybody's like, well, crash dieting works because the Minnesota study. I'm like, well, it's different when you're dealing with a guy who's at 10% body fat trying to go to 5% versus a woman who's trying to get away from hypertension and diabetes because she's 600 pounds and lose weight. So the problem is there's not enough data on athletes and fasting. They did the lean gain studies was done on athletes, and the lean gain study actually showed that there was no difference other than the difference in caloric intake, which was about 250 calories, which accounted for the extra weight loss in the fasting group. But then you also had the fact that it wasn't significant, but there was a decrease in both testosterone and thyroid hormone output by the fasting group. So I think it just depends on the population, right? Well, and that's why I wrote that book, Performance Fasting. One was because people kept asking me to address fasting that they can do because they wanted to fast, but they didn't want to lose muscle. But if I'm getting ready for a bodybuilding show, unless it's a crazy situation where I have to drop weight classes, I'm old school. I'm going to go with 6 meals a day.
Yeah. I mean, what was I going to say? I think that it definitely helps, of course, as far as like insulin sensitivity is concerned. But if we just use common sense here, I mean, if you're an athlete and you're going through a really strenuous training session, it just makes sense to eat afterwards. Like, have a little bit of maybe a small meal before, with a little bit of protein to increase amino acidemia and things like that while you're working out to help with muscle protein synthesis. But to me, it just if we just think about it here, it would make sense to eat after you work out. I mean, regardless of the studies, I would want to.
I'm hungry as hell too. Like, you depleted all that glycogen. Yeah. You're tapping into ketones. But I'm also not a ketosis guy, and that's where I kind of go into like, Ben Bickman, I've watched his stuff and Lane Norton has completely destroyed this guy on so many occasions. Yeah.
And I'm not even a fan of Lane, but he has destroyed him.
Oh, Lane and Lane, some of what Lane says, I've never totally disagreed with Lane. And remember, I worked with Lane for 7 years. Like, Lane worked with me at Scivation. Yeah. So Lane's a good, close friend of mine. I've never completely disagreed with Lane, but I have taken exception to some of where he draws his conclusion. But Lane always at least has some data. If someone has data to back it up, it's like, okay, great. The problem with a lot of these guys like Bickman is they go on a lot of correlative studies and they nitpick a lot of studies and so these are the guys. I was watching the dude who did the guy with the fucking bulletproof coffee, whatever his name is. He has a book. David Sinclair.
Yeah.
He's on Rogan and he's talking to Rogan. He's like, well, I fast and then I train and then I have to eat. He's like, well, you almost have it, right? I'm like, why do you even fucking eat at this point? Like, these guys are talking like fasting is going to cure the world because they're only looking at one side of it, because they're looking at autophagy. You want to know how to increase autophagy? Exercise.
Caloric restriction.
Most of the fasting studies were not even done on fasting individuals. They're done on people on VLC, very low calorie diets.
Yes.
Right.
That's what Lane said. I remember watching one of his videos a while back where he said they compared studies where they had just a basic caloric restriction versus a fasting group, and they compared them, and there was no difference between them when it came to autophagy. And so I'll tell people this, and a lot of people are just, there's a lot of fasting zealots out there that are like, that will just fight you over that.
Bro, you gotta fast.
But that's what the studies revealed, is that there's no difference between the two.
No.
You know, the biggest difference I think that what people miss is that almost every dude I know wants to think that they're some sort of fucking athlete. When in fact, like some guys even in our comments being like, I don't like when you call me a fat tub of lard. I'm sure you're you like that a lot less than your fucking heart likes you being a fat tub of lard, actually. So
Alan has a way with bedside manner.
it's reality, you know. Like I find it amazing how these guys, like every dude I've ever met, like will come for us or coaching or whatever. And they're like, well, I don't want to lose my strength either. Like, motherfucker, you're 300 pounds. Like, I mean, as a newsflash, let's save your life first. Yeah. And then we'll worry about your performance. Like, to be real, like once I get closer to like every summer I lean out for my birthday. Once I get closer to there, my performance, unless I start increasing my calories and I increase my feed window, my performance will dip down. Like my actual performance working out. Because when there's like for both you two, I can imagine fasting is much harder, and what might mean you lose some muscle mass, because you know, Mark, like you can like watch the fucking his heartbeat in his calf veins and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't have a lot to go from. Your body is not going to go into glyconeogenesis as quickly as other people, because you guys don't have much fat to fucking pull from. You know what I mean? Like, but right now I'm rocking like about 13%, 14% body fat, probably about 13. My body's got plenty of body fat to go to. It's not a fucking issue. It is going to naturally, adaptively select going to fat instead of going to my muscle tissue. When you're as lean as you two are, your body's like, fuck it, we need some fucking energy quickly, and it's going to go towards tissue. You know what I mean?
Hypoglycemia. I don't know if you get that, Matt, but if I try to fast when I'm lean, right now I'm pretty lean because I just came off. I'm pretty much still in my prep body fat. When I fast at this level of body fat, I will get hypoglycemic. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what. I have to throw MCTs in there to even not die. Yep. Like, I feel it's the worst hypoglycemia. If you've never had it, it is scary, because you're like, why do I feel like I'm going to die? And it's literally just insulin.
I had it the other day.
Blood sugar. Oh, you did?
Like, it was, so I try to time out my workout, like with my pre-workout meal, to where like I'm not going to be starving when I'm working out, but I kind of mistimed it the other day. And when I got in the car to go home, I immediately started to feel that I was going hypo. And you definitely, like, when you feel that, have that feeling, you definitely just want to go eat something immediately.
Oh, it is. It's so, and you have to, like, I don't care what your diet is. You get you get that. So just to get over, I didn't define it when I said it. MCT is medium chain triglycerides. It is a saturated fat derived mainly from coconut oil or other, well, they come from basically vegan sources. So like coconut, right? It's like, think about it as a plant-based saturated fat. So MCT is the part of coconut oil that has most of the health benefits.
Aren't there medium chain triglycerides in like heavy cream too?
I believe, I'm not sure. I know they have the whatever the for some reason I can't, mono and diglycerides. I'm not sure if that is even close to that. I don't think there is. Not sure. Okay. I'm not sure. I don't eat heavy cream enough to look. Maybe I should. I eat whipped cream.
Yeah.
Holy shit. This dude, his dad is 108.
That's what's up.
He is living on a prayer.
No kidding.
I guarantee you he's not fat. I guarantee you he's not fat. I guarantee it.
And if he is, he got fat when he was 107.
So how would do you guys ever prescribe fasting to people? Alan, have you ever prescribed fasting as a coach?
I don't necessarily prescribe the fasting. I do have them push their meal back. I think for most people though, like trying to lose a substantial amount of weight, it depends. Like, I find to a great degree that a lot of people that are obese because it starts with dehydration. And I have them focus on their hydration first thing in the day. And I have them try to get 75% of what I would subscribe as their minimum hydration by their noon meal. That way they're not drinking a whole bunch of fluid right before their evening meal so they can guarantee their sleep. So for a lot of these people that come to me, it's like they're 300 pounds. If we try to get them at least to have 150 ounces, so 75% of that, sorry to Rain Man this shit, but 75% of that's like 105 ounces by midday. So it's like 20 to 30 ounces when you first wake up, and then 12 ounces of coffee or something like that. And then if you're hungry, maybe something small, but don't do anything that's going to stop you from getting that fluid in until your noon meal. So they kind of end up very, very low caloric, very, very, very low caloric for their first meal to begin with, just because they're focusing so much on hydration. But I don't necessarily have them automatically fast. Like, you don't want to upset their apple cart too much at the very beginning, especially. A lot of them end up choosing to fast though. Once they've lost like 50 pounds, they already realize that they don't even really even miss breakfast. No. So then they end up going to just noon and through. But for a lot of people, that's like fasting got this weird thing. Like right when I got into YouTube, dude, there was like so many people that were like, I'm an expert on fasting. Like, it's skipping fucking breakfast, motherfuckers. It's so
I blame the Hodge twins. They even created a fucking channel for it, the Fasting Twins. I remember it was such a grift because they're like, man, we go roll with this fasting thing. They didn't eat. So their thing was, I actually asked them, we were actually out eating pizza after they broke their fast. It was funny. And I asked him, I'm like, so what is it? He's like, well, we just don't eat breakfast or lunch because when we were poor, we couldn't afford it. I'm like, all right. He's like, so might as well make some money on it now. I was like, yep, not even mad, because they literally that's just how they ate, because they literally been doing it since they were little kids.
Right.
I think it's fucking hilarious. Those guys. What about you, Matt? Do you ever prescribe fasting?
I don't ever prescribe it, but I have had some clients in the past that have asked me, like, is it okay to fast? I'm like, absolutely. To me, it's more of a personal preference thing. If they want to do it, they can do it. I just make sure it's like, when you are in your feeding window, just make sure you're hitting the macros that I am giving you. But some people prefer it, some people don't. And that's what I tell them is like, there's really no other benefit to it versus just a basic caloric restriction. So it just comes down to if you prefer to fast and eat your food later in the day. At the end of the day, it comes down to calories in, calories out at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So if by 9 p.m. or wherever your last meal is, if you're at 1,500 calories in 2 meals or 1,500 calories in 10 meals, it's going to make such a small, minor difference, because your body switches its energy usage and substrate and gets used to it, and it goes on rhythms. It hoards when it has to. It burns more when it has to. Your body likes homeostasis. Mm-hmm. So I feel that if you like to fast, that's great. But like my daughter did it for a while, and right now, because she's so active, like now she gets up and she cooks herself a beautiful breakfast. And her performance has been way better because of her expenditure. Like, you can't take an elite athlete unless you're Herschel Walker and have them fast. There are some freaks, or the twins even, but their bodies have been doing it since they were little kids. And Herschel Walker is just a freak. By the way, just on a note, the 108-year-old, he is 122 pounds at 5'11". Yep. And then Jessica, her great grandma lived to 116. But But I want you to look at the weights: 5'11", 122. And then you have 4'10", 80. So they are certainly not fat. Yeah. You don't see, that's no body fat. That's no body fat.
It kills you.
Typically the people who live the longest are small. Like, you don't have like big dudes that live 100 years.
Andre the Giant, you didn't see his ass in a convalescent home.
No.
God.
Yeah, like Joe Biden, he's like 190.
Yeah.
Dude, the Easter Bunny shit was fucking hilarious. The Easter Bunny's like showing, like, they literally, I guarantee you, I will bet Matt's life savings on this. That's how confident I am. I guarantee you that was a Secret Service agent in that fucking bunny suit, fucking directing him where to go. That was not just a normal fucking Disney bunny. What
happened?
So basically, Biden is he's like walking around with this fucking bunny, and then somebody asked him a question on Afghanistan. All of a sudden, the bunny just jumps in between them. Was like, "Hey, let's go over here." Dude, you gotta look at it. It's fucking great. Like if I wasn't losing money through my ass due to taxes and all the other shit Biden did, this would be the most hilarious period of human history ever. Because if I was in another country watching this shit that wasn't the Ukraine, I'd be like, dude, this shit's fucking hilarious.
Yep.
Like, dude, look who they elected. We thought we were bad. It's like, look at this guy. Oh, it's fucking great. Hey, here's one for you, Alan. Right up your alley. Why is belly fat so hard to lose?
Well, there's lots of possibilities. One, you're not in a deficit. You know, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Two, people gain and lose fat differently. Like before like my midsection clears out, my shoulders. I mean, I'll be fully striated in my shoulders and my upper chest, my neck. My neck will look like I'm fucking about to have a fucking seizure because like all the veins. But I still have plenty of body fat to lose. I will say this: if you're eating a lot of ultra processed carbohydrates, you might not even lose your visceral fat. You know, I mean, like, if your nutrition even at a decent caloric deficit, your homeostasis you might have a hard time even losing visceral fat just from that. It's the biggest killer. Now, if you're talking belly fat, like right around like subcutaneous belly fat, that might just be like the last bit to go on you. For me, that's the last bit to go. That and a little bit of my love handles is the last bit to go. But
I almost have to qualify this that we'd have to touch it.
Yeah,
you really would have to touch it to see if it's hard or if it's soft. Oh God, that sounded so wrong. We'd have to touch it till it gets hard. No, but you have visceral fat
survival mechanism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Visceral fat is that hard beer belly fat, whereas subcutaneous fat is that jiggly fat, right?
Yeah, but I'll argue that like if you look at like pictures and videos and stuff for like people 70 years ago, nobody had visceral fat. Even the people that had subcutaneous fat, almost nobody had like beer belly fat. Like
right.
maybe some hillbillies who were moonshining it up in the fucking woods, and that's no shit. Like that's one of the reasons why is because the alcohol produces visceral fat.
Absolutely.
You know, but if you actually look at it, not a whole lot of people had it. That is a more modern illness, and that is the driver of so much chronic illness and disease is the beer belly fat. That's why that's the biggest problem with PCOS for women too. Is PCOS gives them larger than level androgen levels, and then when you add ultra processed carbohydrates on it, they develop beer bellies like men.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's like a survival mechanism. So your body wants to lose fat close to your digestive system last because that's the most, you know, if shit hits the fan or whatever, it's gonna want to it takes the least amount of energy because it's right there to get to it. So you always lose it in your extremities. You lose your fat in your extremities before you do, you know, in your torso. Because like I said, it's a survival mechanism.
Shit, I never even thought of it like that.
I didn't either, but that's pretty fucking smart.
A lot of fucking evolutionary sense. Damn, learn something new every day. We got to write that shit down and steal it.
I'm actually taking a note on that. I got to look that shit up.
That is, So when you say substantial amount of weight to lose, I think it depends where you want to get to. You know, and it just depends on. I think it could be as little as 15 pounds. Substantial, like 15 pounds above a healthy working weight. That's definitely gonna. Or if 15 pounds of fat is a lot.
That changes your mobility.
It changes every 15 pounds, dude. Think about that. Like that's the difference between 185 and 200, right? Think about it, 100 and 115. That's a huge difference. 20 pounds for sure. 50 pounds, absolutely, that's substantial.
Mm-hmm. When you get into the point where you get to see people need to lose 25 to 50, up to 60% of their body mass to be at a healthy weight, that's like what I deal with a lot. And I mean, when you got somebody that needs to lose 100 pounds because they weigh 400 pounds just to get a surgery so that they can get like I've dealt with that shit before too. Like I can't get this surgery and to like have cancer removed until I weigh 300. Or knee replacements are a big thing too. Knee replacements, like they make them weigh under a certain weight because they can't do the therapy needed to actually stand on the new joint is a big one too. But I mean, substantial weight. Most of America needs to lose about 30 pounds or more. Yeah. Is the statistic right now? Like especially it's in belly fat right now too, which is even worse.
If you look at, we talked about this the other day, man. If you look at kids, Like these little boys have tits, like literal female tits, and their body fat distribution is that of a female. And it's sad. I mean, it used to be like boys would have a little chunky around their bellies. Like my sons have a little bit of belly fat. You know, they're 14 and 9, but they're built like fucking men, right? Like they're built like fucking dudes. These kids got missile tits. You know, it's like, how does that happen?
I'm wondering because, like, I know that supposedly companies are not allowed to inject hormones into cattle or chicken and things like that. But one thing that I've noticed, and I could be totally wrong about this, but when I got off of my prep from last year, that entire prep, I did not consume dairy, but I love milk and I love cottage cheese. So I immediately introduced it to my diet. And I immediately started developing like back knee, and like acne would pop up or on like around my face and shoulders and all that. And it was terrible. So I eliminated dairy products like I eliminated the milk and the cottage cheese. Back knee, all the acne went away. And so I'm wondering if there's something hormonal going on there. Like,
it's definitely hormonal. Well, being fat, Alan said this last time we talked, being fat is estrogenic. Fat is estrogenic. So just by these kids being fat, they're in a position to have hormones that are more resembling a female hormone versus male.
Yeah. And, of course that has all to do with their diets, but I'm wondering if, that could also have an impact on it, because I know a lot of kids consume dairy products. So
it absolutely could.
I don't think it's dairy. I mean, I used to, gallon of milk a day was a diet we fucking did as bodybuilders back in the day. I'm not going to say I didn't do it. I'm going to say I shit myself doing it.
So dumb.
Go mad. Go mad.
It's so stupid.
Hey man, but nobody like developed fucking bitch tits from it, right?
Right.
Like
probably diabetes though.
Well, I mean, so what would happen is it was usually high school kids when I was in high school. I never did it. I actually didn't, but I did increase my milk consumption. I just wasn't about to drink a gallon. I actually just went to McDonald's, which is probably fucking better. But so my whole thing is, I don't think it's dairy. I truly just think it's being fat. And dairy might or might not hurt, but I think the main disease is the fact these kids are just tremendously fat.
Yeah,
just so fat, and it's not good. It's not good.
They're eating all processed foods and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. If you look at carts and grocery
that's
stores,
the difference between your kids and the regular fat kids. Like
that, and I mean, yesterday, Sunday morning, I woke up, and it really wasn't a good idea, but I ran without my arms. But I'm like, all right, kids, let's go sprint. So Cammie had something going on. She had to train for a powerlifting meet. The boys and I went to field. We sprinted. That's another thing. Like, we have an active family who lives a fitness lifestyle. Right. So of course it's going to be different, and that's why, my daughter's friends will come over, the guys, and they'll just want to talk about fitness because that's something that their household is based on. So you can't really compare a guy who does a lot with fitness, right?
What's this guy saying?
Oh, this was, so basically I have done, so every time I do something, I used to vlog it on my other channel. It used to be Low Buyer channel. And so there are videos why I am fasting. And so I go into why I was fasting. And one of the major reasons, you can look back at the videos, was the fact that I have IBS. Also wanted to try it out. So why do you say you don't support it? I would like you to go back in this video and find one spot where I didn't support fasting. You wrote a book on it. I literally wrote a book on fasting. So what I said, what I said,
we got you, Mark. We got you.
What I said, yeah, you got me, bro. So basically, my thing is, for a majority of people, fasting in its traditional sense might not be great. But for the average office worker, taking an extra 8 hours a day where they can't eat more candy off their assistant's desk, that's a win. So it cuts down the eating window. When you cut down the eating window, you cut down your ability to fuck it up. So the thing is, with someone like Matt and myself and Alan's less structured, who are pro bodybuilders or structured fitness enthusiasts, where you're literally going to eat a certain amount of macros a day, it's not going to make a difference. And also, we've learned more about autophagy. Like, we've learned that exercise and other things do have that effect. Now, is fasting just as good as any other diet? Yeah. It's not magical though. It's not like it's not like your David Sinclair's and everybody talk about, and maybe it is. Maybe Sinclair's ahead of the game, but that motherfucker better lived 180 years old.
It needs to be in a vacuum. Like I said that for a while, they were saying fasting increased growth hormone for a long time. And the study looked pretty good until you realized it's just done in a complete vacuum. Like everything else needs to be perfect. So that means your sleep is perfect, your hydration is perfect, your meals are perfect, all of that. You just happen to be fasting, and then like whatever. Like that's it. Not only that, but I just got to say this, dude. Like, and if you're going back 3 years in somebody's content to try to fucking get a gotcha, get a fucking life.
Dude,
holy fuck, dude! Like, I mean, like, what the fuck? Yeah. Get a girlfriend. Go outside and touch some fucking grass.
Hey, do you ever look through your like? I look through the comments just where they come in as one big comment, where it's like every comment, and you'll see them comment on a video from like 6 years ago, and they're like, "I don't agree with you." I'm like, "I don't agree with me either."
Yeah, fuck. I mean.
Fucking
I used to wear a shirt that said on the back of it, if I don't think about my insurance, it's not heavy enough. I don't agree with that shirt anymore. Like,
oh my God. And then 2020 happened. So this dude, Thomas Pickles, he's 100 pounds overweight. What is the best approach to extreme weight loss? We don't need extreme weight loss. I
would say basic caloric deficit. Make sure you're eating enough protein and let it happen as it happens.
But how does he know? So he got fat like that, right? Here's my question for you. How does he know what a caloric deficit is? He's obviously not good at food. So would you recommend him to set calories? Because he's obviously failed at it in the past. Or would you recommend just more basic food choices? And I mean, what would be, because I mean, my fear with really fat people is they really suck at measuring stuff.
Okay.
You're 100 pounds overweight. You're eating processed carbohydrates and shit.
Yeah.
Stick to the vegetable aisle and
not chicken and oats. Yeah.
I would say, whole foods, and allow yourself to have a treat maybe once a day.
You get an outright bar 4 times a day.
And then
that was a joke. That was a joke. Once
have some type of protein with every meal.
Yep.
I think that if you are going to keep up with anything, keep up with your protein, because I think it's super important to eat a high amount of protein. That's going to help your metabolism. It's going to help you feel satiated. And I've seen the most success with high protein diets.
Yeah. And I got to plug them. I have the beef I eat is leaner than chicken, and beef I like the nutrient density. It's not that significant. Piedmontese.com. I have a coupon code for like 25% off. I don't get paid on it. I want to say I do not get paid by this. I just wanted it because I wanted to share with the world that this good ass beef. I do not get commission on this. Piedmontese.com. It's a 96% fucking lean beef. It's insane. Once you cook it, it's down to 98. It's leaner than chicken. So you give me chicken every meal, I'm gonna fucking shoot you. But now I can eat beef every meal, and 25% off is a fucking lot. I'm like, are you kidding me? But I guess since they're not paying me commission, they can afford it, right?
You said it's Piedmontese?
Piedmontese, Piedmontes, Piedmontese.com. Certified Piedmontese beef. It's right out of Nebraska, dude. They're good peeps. They make beef jerky and shit, but I just get the ground beef and I cook the shit out of it. I put a little bit of everything bagel seasoning on it because I'm Jewish.
Oh, good.
Dude, my daughter got me on that everything bagel seasoning. I put that shit on fucking everything. That shit is so good.
We have the everything seasoning bagel, but we have a kind that has jalapeno in it too.
There's one with Asiago cheese, just a little bit for the flavor, no calories. It's fucking stupid good. Anyway, guys, things like that, Thomas, will make your food. People be like, I had a client the other day be like, okay, I messed up yesterday, ate pizza. I'm like, how do you feel? Well, I was tired of eating chicken. I'm like, you've been with me for 5 fucking days. Like, it's been 5 days. Oh man. I have no empathy for people though, because I've never cheated on a diet. I've never had a craving. When I have a goal, so for me, my problem is empathy. And I know Alan's better at empathy. I know you're better at empathy. Me, I'm one of those, I'm an asshole where like when I was in high school, I trained for 6 hours a day for football because I wanted to go D1. But I'm one of those assholes who once he sets his mind, I'll do anything. I will literally go outside and eat my dog's shit to get a goal, right? Like most people just aren't built like that. I'm not saying I'm better. It's actually a fucking fault of mine, but because I will ruin my life to hit that goal. But this motherfucker, I was like, dude, it's been 5 days. If only he had the everything bagel seasoning, it would have been fine. Dude, I gotta say, our people watching our stuff are much better looking than they used to be.
Yeah.
Jarella is extremely attractive.
Well, Jarella, it also could be because you're salt.
Matt's like, I'll get that question.
Matt's like, excuse me, they're married. What are you doing?
You know, I got it.
That was awesome.
Typically
that was the live version of sliding into the DMs.
No shit, right there. That was awesome.
I can't. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Matt. You got the floor.
Yeah, apparently she's cute. So anyway,
you don't see the picture? Does he see the picture?
It's really small.
Oh, it's big on my screen. That was not a pun.
But yeah, as you diet down, as you get leaner, you tend to crave salty foods more. So your salt intake just naturally increases. And so when you eat more salt, you get thirstier, you have to drink more fluids. And so it's because of that you more likely than cortisol. I mean, cortisol definitely does play a part in it, but I think it has more to do with you've probably increased your salt intake, and then have also increased your fluid intake as well, and that does hold on to water. So, and this is what frustrates a lot of people is, they'll be dieting for so long and they'll get lean, but it'll seem for a while that they're not making progress when really they are. And it's not, sometimes it's tough. It's difficult to tell between fat and water weight.
Most
so
certainly.
It could be just because you've started to consume more salt. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you're stressed out and whatnot, can also be cortisol as well. So it could be both of them.
I wouldn't even gone there. I would have guessed stress, but no, that was perfect. That was phenomenal. That's another thing I'm stealing from Matt today. So we had, I'm like, he's shit. It's just, I'm just going to shut up. Just, you can talk to all the hot chicks on here.
I'm pretty sure I learned that from Mike Israel.
Oh, there you go.
I think that's
and my Jewish brethren. Yep. Jewish people are smart. So Jessica, her abdominal area leaned out after she cut out processed carbs. I think it causes inflammation too in the gut.
Absolutely.
Gluten is not digestible. It's too indigestible amino acids. And some people can deal with it just fine. Like me, I could have 2 pieces of bread a day once I get up to like traveling and I'm eating like 4 Turk Sams a day to fit my macros. Turkey sandwiches, by the way, Turk Sams. Turk Sam. Then it can become an issue for me. So yeah, absolutely. You switch to non-processed food and you'll be in a better spot.
I mean, to me, like that's one of the reasons me and you have even talked about that before. When people they go on, they're vegan and they have to replace for some reason like vegan sausage and vegan tuna and shit like that. It's all gluten. It's all. Oh, I know. I had the vegans pissed off at me earlier on the day too because some fucking Twitter
no more
thing
death
with PETA. It was like PETA.
Oh, the PETA one. Yeah. I think I retweeted you on that.
Yeah,
I didn't want any of that smoke.
Animals don't want to be eaten. Animals don't want to be eaten. I'm like, then they shouldn't taste delicious.
If you taste delicious,
I mean, what the fuck? If you don't. But I had a vegan pissed at me today.
I like. Did you guys follow Nature is Metal on Instagram? I love that page. It's like literally. It is nature not giving a fuck. Everybody follows it. Like, you could see like your friends who like this picture. Yeah. It's like Chris Gethin, Mike Rashid. It's like, oh, my boys, right? I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one who likes seeing animals completely devour each other. Like there's like shit with like, their guts are hanging out and they're just like walking around like it's normal. Because basically the whole point is nature, they survive and they know they're just a part of the food cycle, the life cycle, circle of life, whatever you want to call it. And now we're off to veganism, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, we're the top of the food chain and our teeth are formed the way they are because we're omnivorous and our stomach chamber more closely resembles a canine than it does an orangutan. So it's like, well, gorillas, they're swollen. They eat all. It's like, yeah, they also eat for 79% of the day. Like they don't fast.
No, they do not fast.
No. And have you seen, like, if they have the opportunity, they will go carnivorous.
Mm-hmm.
There's videos of apes just fucking eating the shit out of bunnies and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Telling you, man.
So I went from 270 to 196, but can't lose my stomach.
You're not lean enough. 196 is heavy.
Yeah.
Unless you're like 6'4", 196 is pretty big. Or you're like Matt or myself and you're fucking muscular. 196.
Thanks,
when
Mark.
I was put in perspective, when I was competing, what was that?
Thanks, Mark.
I mean, you're like, well, you're in the you're 190, right?
I'm about 185, 190. I'm just joking. I'm small now, and I'm happy about it.
Smaller. You're not small. You're still accused of being on steroids as much as anybody.
All the time.
So basically, 190. When I was competing as a middleweight, 196, my abs were blurry as fuck. To get abs, I had to get down to 180, and I'm 5'7". And even at that time, like, I'm genetically blessed. I have really good abs genetically. So I don't think you're lean enough. Of course you can't lose your stomach. You got to diet better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're so, I mean, like, I'd be able to give you some better advice if I had a little bit more context, because it's possible that you should maybe reverse at this point. I don't know how low calories you're consuming and all that. So, but yeah, it's definitely because you're just not lean enough.
Hey guys, Mark, I did notice I have a meeting coming up here in about 10 minutes with a client that I've checked out. So
whenever you got to bust out. Yeah, that's cool. Right now or in 10 minutes?
I'm going to pop out now to get ready for it. So
all right, man. Hey, we'll see you next. Matt and I will take over.
All right, guys. Alan. Sorry about that. I totally forgot about the meeting. So
no, it's all good.
Soon, guys.
All good, man.
All right, Alan.
Bye.
Take it easy.
So here's one. We'll just, if you have time, Matt, we could blow through these questions.
Let's do it, man.
Some of them. So if a woman has a bigger belly, to lose it, do you focus on diet or exercise?
I'm going to go with both. I mean, yeah. If you had to pick one or the other, because that's the thing, that they both work together. Like,
and everyone should be doing cardio daily just for overall health.
Yeah.
So but I would actually say take those two and add weight training.
Yeah.
Weight training is
even
huge.
The third. If you do all three of those, you're going to get phenomenal results.
So bigger belly is just, she's fat. Okay. She's fat. Let's just use the fucking word. And so what we found through recent data, Alan Aragon did a great post on this on his Instagram a couple months back. So basically, to lose weight, diet is significantly more important than cardio. To keep weight off, cardio is just as, if not more important, or activity as diet. So to lose weight, diet is so important. But as someone who was eating all he wanted and boxed for so many years and didn't gain weight and had to literally force feed not to get too light, once you drop the weight and you exercise significantly, it's harder to put it back on. Obviously, you could out-eat any activity level. So for a female, so here's the thing. Rule of thumb, you do cardio year round. I say every day, because that way if you miss it, you still get 4 to 5 days a week. 30 minutes, go for a walk, park further away from the grocery store, the furthest parking spot. Just do that. Weight train 3 to 4 days a week. If you could do more, that's great. And then set your diet to what you need to either lose or gain weight as needed. But they all play a role. So it's one of those, like, when people go, what's better for my pec development? Bench press or flies? I'm like, why do we have to choose?
Yeah.
Do both.
Yeah, do both. Yeah. I just posted some videos this past week about how to find how many calories you need to consume to lose weight. And then how to find out what your macros should be in order to make sure you're losing fat and not muscle. So if you want to go check that out, that's
on your Instagram, right?
Right.
Okay, I was watching that today. Let's see what else we have. Oh wow, there's a lot of shit. Let me scroll all the way down. See if there's anything we haven't touched on. It's just people having conversation. Hey guys, maybe we can. Hey guys, I've been eating nothing but red meat and fruit and feel fantastic. I've lost 30 pounds and almost to my goal. Would you just add anything else to this to make it more optimal?
I mean, I think that vegetables probably.
He's getting a lot of good shit in here, though. Fruit has so many antioxidants, and I'd add in something like, if you don't want to eat more vegetables and stuff, a lot of people have trouble digesting them. I'd go with like an ambrosia nectar or something, just an overall like health formula that covers like the extract of what you want to get out of a greens product or greens. Nectar has that in concentrated forms.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you look at even where kind of the carnivore is, if you think the carnivore diet, they're kind of evolving where now they're saying you can eat fruit as well, which makes zero fucking sense. It's like we need more people to buy our books. You can eat fruit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And they're the ones who were saying, you don't need supplements. Oh, you don't even need to buy a book. You could just, all of a sudden it's like, we need money to fund this study and we need
that's so
pay to
funny.
our organization. And here's our books. They're only $30 for a paperback.
It's so funny to me. Like,
I love it. I love the grift. I love grifting on all levels. I'm a fan.
Fasting is so simple. You don't eat. But people
Carnivore.
sell
You eat
courses on
beef.
it.
You eat beef.
I'm going to teach you how to not eat, and then eat within a specific, like, what else do you need to know? You know, but with carnivore, I mean, carnivore's in the name. What do I do? Just be a carnivore. Eat meat.
It's fucking that was the whole premise. Like Sean Baker came out and he basically told everybody to eat a ribeye in the morning and a ribeye at night. And that was that was it. And then all of a sudden there's diet books and fucking research. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's the carnivore OG, isn't he?
Yeah, he's he wasn't the guy who invented it. He was just the guy who went all fucking in.
Yeah.
Like this guy went all in. And I mean, his credit, he's a fucking strong motherfucker, great athlete, smart as a whip. Like I'm not adverse. I like carnivore too. I don't think it's optimal, but I'm not against it. I think you could do just fine on it. You know, I'm not.
I think extreme diets like that are better suited towards like extreme circumstances. So, like for example, and I'm just using IBS. Just as like a random example here. But if you have a condition like IBS or whatever, I would probably try carnivore to see if that
carnivore destroyed me on IBS. It made me so bad. Well, I mean, I have IBS-D. So for me, fiber binds. When I didn't have fiber, I'm not going to describe it. Let's just say that there was a lot of cleanup on aisle 2.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. And because I had no binder. And so for me, maybe for IBS-C, because that's the constipation one, maybe. But for and I tried it. It's like, you got to wait 2 weeks. Okay, I did it for a month. And it was weird because I wasn't hungry and I was eating all the sodium they tell you to supplement with. And I couldn't get a fucking pump. I just felt off. And I really like toast. Toast is amazing. Like toast is so good. But past keto, and then I think we kind of wrap this up, is can you preserve muscle on a keto diet? Yeah.
I'd say so. I mean,
so problem is the keto diet. I don't think most people know what a keto diet is. Keto diet is literally, I mean, a lot of people will eat sirloin steak and think they're on a keto diet. A keto diet is literally 80% fat. So you're eating the fattiest, like you're literally eating the fucking, like if you ever, that shit you cut off a steak, that's what you're eating. Like that's your diet. And that's why at the beginning, you know, in the Atkins, I think pork rind sales when it first came. So it came out in 1974, I believe, for epileptics. It was based on epileptics that Atkins did the diet revolution. Then somehow resurfaced again around 98, 99. And I think pork rind sales, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, fact check me, they went up like thousands of percentage points. Like they literally bought the stores out of pork rinds because in order to get to that 80-20 ratio, you're not doing it with chicken breast. Or if you are doing it, you're literally, in fact, Bruce Neller, he did it was called the Fat Fast on TMAG. And he literally had people drinking like almost a bottle of flaxseed oil a day to get their fat. So just eating chicken breast isn't keto because when you have too much protein, then you just convert that to carbs via gluconeogenesis.
Yep. Yeah. When I did it, because keto was the first diet that I ever tried, like actual, you know, I need to lose fat at this point, and this is the simplest thing that I can do, and it's seems to be getting people's results, so I ran with it. Mm-hmm. Eventually, I got into flexible dieting, but as for this part, I would eat things like avocados, but it wouldn't be it'd probably be like half an avocado because there are some carbs in there. But I'd keep my carbs very low. Even when I went to Chipotle and got like steak and the fajitas, I'd pick out the onions because apparently the onions aren't keto friendly. But I would take shots of olive oil. Like, I didn't know any better, but I just knew that, hey, you got to keep eating fat to burn fat. So, but yeah, like, a lot of people don't realize also that you can overconsume fat. Fat is the most caloric dense food you can consume. And it's what makes all food taste good. Like the fattiest foods are the best tasting foods. That's why ribeyes are like the best steaks.
I fuck ribeyes. I'm a sirloin guy.
That's why pizza. That's why pizza tastes good. That's why gelato tastes good.
Pizza is so good. There's actually an argument here about cardio. So Lane Norton says it doesn't matter if you're fasted or not during cardio. And then somebody else is like, Jay Cutler says he noticed the difference in fasted cardio. I love Lane, but Jay is a legit living legend. You know what?
Yeah, but that's Jay.
Yeah, Jay. Well, how do I put this? Bodybuilders at that level, they have to time their nutrients due to some of the supplements that they take.
Mm-hmm.
That in order to reach a kind of a more fat burning safe zone, they have to time their cardio around a time when they don't have certain substances in their body. I'm not saying, I don't know if Jay did them or not, but there's a lot of reason for that. You know, at the end of the day, you're not Jay Cutler. You're not competing for Mr. Olympia. And like Matt's getting ready for a show to get his pro card. And it doesn't matter when he does his cardio either. For me, I like doing AM fasted cardio because fuck cardio. I want to get it out of the way. And you wake up and it's fasted. But let's say you're doing sprints. Like yesterday I did sprints. There's no way I would be able to do that on a fasted stomach because your glycogen stores would be completely empty.
Yeah.
And you'd bonk. You would literally bonk.
I'd go hypo.
Yeah. So it just depends on the time and place. Now, Jay Cutler walking on a treadmill at 300 pounds in the off, getting ready for a show is different than you at maybe 180 pounds, waking up in the morning. So there's a difference, but a lot of bodybuilders like AM cardio and they say do it in the AM. And it's because sometimes shit just works. And there's no data, and Lane is completely data driven, and he looks great, and he's trained a lot of athletes, but there's different experiential things, right, that different trainers go by. And Lane is evidence-based, but he's also competed as a natural, whereas I'm not going to make any assumptions, but I'm assuming Jay wasn't natural when he was competing, and there are some differences. And Jay's at a level I've never even been at. Jay's at a level where he's timing everything. Like, he's the best in the world. Yeah. I was literally, I was the best that night, but I wasn't the best in the world. That was a feeder show to become a pro. Jay literally took that feeder show and beat every other pro in the world for 4 fucking years. So yeah, AM cardio, even if it is more beneficial, Thomas, I'm just guessing that you're not going to be competing for a Mr. Olympia. So I would just say get your cardio done when you can.
You're looking at like a half of a percentage, possibly better, if that.
Which matters if you're competing for Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, over time, for sure.
Well, I mean, you look at like you look at Bonac versus Curry, right, at the Arnold.
Yeah. Obviously,
we were biased as fuck for Brandon, but what separated those two could have literally been morning cardio, It's that fucking close when you're at that level. So I just don't think that anybody who's even me competing in a pro show, right? As soon as my titties heal, I don't think any of us, including Matt and myself, Matt's a high level, national level bodybuilder and I'm a pro bodybuilder. We don't even need to concern ourselves with that. Bottom line is, Thomas, just do your fucking cardio. Yeah. I don't care if you do it before bed, after waking up. I don't care if you do it fucking at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m. Doesn't matter. Just do your fucking cardio and don't die.
Yeah.
But on that note, Matt, thank you for joining us, man. I like this. This is fun. We had a great turnout. I love when people get involved in the questions because we start with a topic and then we just delve so deep into shit that we didn't even want to go into. And it's awesome. So where can they find you, dude?
Yeah. So Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok are my top 3 platforms right now. My username is at Matt_S_Stevens. Stevens is with a PH. And also I have my website, realmattstevens.com. You can find all the information about my coaching and my training programs on there as well.
See, I've been putting some TikToks up, man. I figured out the secret sauce. So for me, it's training form. So I did one with Cami of like weightless butt exercises, like with mini bands, because that's kind of our thing. Like we are mini band experts. Like I've literally taken like thousands of dollars in courses on fucking mini bands. It's absurd. The amount of shit I can do with a mini band, like I could save someone's life with that bitch. But
no kidding.
Oh, dude, yeah. So we did this cool, and it did well on Instagram Reels. And I want to integrate, since my daughter's gonna be working on a new facility in Franklin at the at Legacy at Carbon. I'm like, dude, we got to bring her out, and she's fucking good on camera, and she's in super shape. She's ridiculously strong. She's got her first powerlifting meet on May 7th. If you're free, that's gonna be fun. Yeah, she's it's in Murfreesboro. So you want to come hang out? It's gonna be fun. Yeah, we're just gonna do something simple before the show. Just a little bit of Anadrol. You know, a little Halo. No, I'm just playing. Her friends were over last night, and I was like, and they're like, dude, we were just joking. I was like, dude, you're like Cammy's strong as hell. I'm like, yeah, but she's on all these drugs. She's like, Dad, because they were boys, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm not that dad who's gonna be standing there with a like, no, I'm just cool with them. They're good kids. Like it's fucking Brentwood. Everybody's well-mannered and well-behaved. The kids literally said, thank you, sir, and shook my hand on the way out. I'm like, you could date any of these kids. These kids are great. She's like, Dad. I'm like, oh, fuck, come on. I'm like, at this point, your daughter's going to date, right? Like, she's going to date. So now I'm just trying to play matchmaker with the kids that I think, because I'm at the school every day as a coach. I'm like, hey, what do you think about that dude over there? She's like, Dad, he has a girlfriend. I'm like, well, LL Cool J said, what's your man got to do with me? She's like, Dad, she doesn't even know what song I'm talking about. Like, LL Cool J? You don't know who LL Cool J is?
Dude, but that's like the best endorsement you could have from your dad.
Dude, seriously? Like, well, I mean, like your kids are going to date. And, I'm like, my wife and I were thinking, I don't care about fucking religion, all that shit. Fuck it. I don't care. I don't care what the kid looks like, as long as I want a kid who plays a sport. Okay. Yeah. I want an athlete, because athletes have a different mindset. Exactly. And they understand what it's like to work for something. Yeah. And I want her to have someone who's respectful, not just to her, but to us. And I'm not saying like fucking being on eggshells. I'm saying like, I want my daughter to date someone who knows that I'm going to respect the elders, basically. Right. Like that shows that's how it should be. So, I'm kind of sitting there like, well, this kid's really respectful, but I haven't really met one kid who hasn't been respectful in this whole process.
Yeah.
And if they are, I correct it really quick as a coach, but I think maybe one. And even then, like after that one instance, he was perfect.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so you have to look as a dad, it came from like, I'm never gonna let my daughter date, where it's like, okay, all her friends have boyfriends. Okay. I just want her to date a good dude.
Yeah.
Who I don't have to beat up.
No, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, it is what it is. And, but that's kind of my I don't know where I went there, but yeah, that was, we were just chatting. I'm like, hey, these kids are really nice. I'm like, I wouldn't mind this. Cause I thought I'd be like one of those dads who's like, nah, man, there's no, like my daughter dating. Nah, I can't deal with it. Now I'm like, okay. I mean, cause they develop, cause when you're holding them in your arms and you're like, you're feeding them and you're like, there's no way this little thing that fits in my fucking forearm could ever date, right? Like it's just a baby. And then you're doing a training video at Metroflex, Arizona with your daughter, and you see her doing that. And you're like, okay, she's a woman now. Like we gotta stop the whole like, okay, it's time to have your bottle. It's time for tummy time. Like that shit's out the door. You gotta. One day she'll get married, and it's like, oh my God, it's such a brain fuck. Because you're like,
before you know it, man.
Dude, she's 16. She's driving.
Yeah.
I mean, she went to a Predators game. So they won this contest for this market, this business thing called the EIC. and it's basically they started businesses, and her and two other groups, her group and two other groups out of the entire district, and it's only like they only accept like 30 kids out of like 10,000, some crazy filtering process. So they actually won, and they got to sit in a luxury suite at the Nashville Predators game last night.
That's what's up.
And it was just, I'm like, so I'm dropping her off at fucking Bridgestone Arena with her friends, walking into the door that I've never gone in, the executive door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this is what it's like to live in Brentwood. Like, you just get
Yeah.
fucking luxury seats. And they were serving, she was so excited. She's like, Dad, they were serving shrimp.
Yeah.
Like, for free? Well, you better have eaten a lot of shrimp. I would have eaten all that fucking shrimp. I would have broke a prep for that shrimp. I'm like, it's free? Fine.
Dude, you get all the best shit in the luxury boxes. All of it.
So we have luxury boxes for University of Cincinnati because that's where Chad went.
Yeah.
And I went with him, I think once or twice. And I'm like, dude, you go here every game. I'm like, how the fuck aren't you obese?
Yes.
Like, they got little like finger cakes.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, dude, it's nuts. It's just like, it's another level of just making it.
Dude, that's how it was at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Alabama. Like, I dated a girl whose parents had a skybox.
Yep, that's Chad.
Denny one year, and I went to every single game and sat in the skybox every single game that year.
And you didn't even like the girl.
It was the best.
You kept her around just for the skybox.
Dude. Well, after we broke up, like, I'd be sitting in like the regular stands and look up there and just be like, damn.
Gosh, should have kept her for the skybox, man. Did she break up with you? Because I wouldn't have broken up with her. I would have kept her for the skybox. I don't care what the relationship's like.
Absolutely. I would have.
Perspective, man. All right, so let's do this soon, man. I like this much better than this. Is just casual. Like, podcasting's weird. It's like so formal.
Yeah.
Like, let's just fucking talk shit. Like, last minute, I'm like, hey man, you want to talk about fasting? What are you doing at 3? I'm okay. That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate it, brother.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, man. We'll do it again soon.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
Yes, sir. I'm not good at ending this.